As you can see, I just have the slide here. If you don't know how to get to this, there's going to be a link at the top right hand corner. Click that. It'll take you to a video showing you how to get to this part. Once you're here, come back to this video and follow along. The things you're going to need to perform this is a 3mm punch, the bit size to remove this screw right here if you have an optic installed. In my case, it's a T10. I would assume most of them will be T10s. If it's not a T10, just make sure you have the bit size for your optic screw. If you don't have an optic installed, you don't have to worry about this. And a towel in case you have weak hand strength. Not everybody's going to need to use the towel. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up our slide and we're going to take our 3mm punch. If the silver piece right here looks like this, where it's really close to this plastic sleeve, we're going to take our 3mm punch, put it underneath this silver piece and gently push upward. It should click into place just like that. Now it gives us more room to work with the plastic sleeve. I'm going to put the 3mm punch right above this plastic sleeve just like that, and I'm going to compress that plastic sleeve downward. Once the plastic sleeve is compressed, then I'm going to want to take my finger and I'm going to want to slide this back plate right here, slide that off this way with your index finger like this. But you're going to want to favor this side of the back plate, and that's because there's a spring that's compressed right here. And so once you slide that back plate off, that spring is going to hit your finger instead of flying off. So what we're going to do is put the 3mm punch in here right above that plastic sleeve. We're going to compress, and then with your index finger, you're going to push and slide the back plate off. And it's going to look something like this. Compress. Now you can see the back plate is coming off. We're going to keep our finger here as we slide the rest of the back plate out. Set this down. And now you can see this is the spring that was compressed here, and also the striker is also under spring tension, and that's going to hit your finger as well. That's why I kept my finger here as I was pulling the back plate off. Now that the back plate has been removed, now you can put your thumb underneath this silver part and you can push upward just like that and take that out. Next, you're going to take your spring and you're going to pull out to here. This is the point you're going to need the bit to remove this screw. So we're going to put this here. We're going to turn this like that. And so now we're going to remove this piece. We can flip the slide over. So now what we need to do is compress this little plunger inward, and that is going to release the extractor. Tilt it over, the extractor pops out. Release the pressure with your thumb, nice and slow. Tilt it upside down, give it a little shake, and here is the plunger. You can keep the spring inside there. You don't have to pull that out. Set that aside. And there you go. You have successfully removed the extractor and your striker assembly. Now let me change the camera angle so I could show you how to disassemble the striker assembly. How I disassemble the striker assembly is by putting this part right here into this part of the slide right here. What that does is it makes it a little bit easier for me to compress the spring right here and then removing the cups that are right here. So I put the plastic sleeve into that hole like I showed you before. This silver part is going to go right into this area right here. Once we have the striker assembly inserted like this, you take this part of the slide and you're going to put it onto the desk you're working on, and it's going to be able to stand up just like that on its own. At this point, you're going to want to compress the spring downward, so this way it releases the pressure on the cups that are at the top right here. This black collar right here is actually two pieces, and they call them cups. And so what you're going to do is you're going to compress the spring downward, you're going to remove the two cups, and then that will release the spring, and you can take that off of the striker. At this point, you can use the rag to wrap it around the spring and then pull downward, and that will help you give you a little more traction on the spring. All right, so what I do is I take the rag, I fold the top piece over like this, and I try to go as close to the two cups up here like this on the spring, and I'm going to squeeze and I'm going to compress downward. Once you compress downward, you can see the first cup fell out. The second one, you just pull that out, set that aside. Now you can slowly release, follow the spring upward like that, slide the spring off, and now take the striker out like this. You can take the plastic sleeve and just pull that off. Congratulations, you have successfully disassembled the striker assembly. Now we can put everything back. So if you look at the striker, the bottom of the striker right here, it looks like a cross, right? Just like that. And then the plastic sleeve where you have to insert it into, this also looks like a cross when you look at it this way. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to insert this part right here that I'm pointing to into the sleeve right here. And you're going to insert it like this. So you can see there's this channel right here, and that's where the long part of the cross gets inserted, just like that. And as you can see from here, see how this fits perfectly right into that sleeve? And you go out like that, boom, there you go. Next, you take the plastic part right here, and you're gonna put it back into the slide right here. And this silver part gets inserted into this area right here. And it goes in just like that. Okay, so next we have to put the spring on top of the striker. But before we do this, I want to point something out. Here's the striker and here are both cups. What we're trying to accomplish here is to get the two cups to be inserted like this. As you can see, the two cups can make one collar right here, right? And that's what they should look like. Now, the spring will be between here and here, and that's how the spring gets captured. What we're gonna need to do is put the spring on, compress it, and then put those two cups into the spring. So now let's reset everything back the way it was. Insert the plastic sleeve, having this little silver piece in this channel. Take our spring, put it over the striker like this. Now we're gonna take our fingers as high as possible. We're going to pull this down to approximately here, and then we're going to insert the cups. You're going to use the same process using the rag if you need it. So let me show you how it's done. So it's going to look something like this. I'm going to slide that around the other side just to make it easier. And then I'm going to grab the other cup and insert it. Make sure they're both underneath that little lip, just like that. And there you go. Take this out. Let's take a look. So as you can see, the two cups now form one collar, and the spring is captured between here and here. And you can see that it works properly. So we're good to go. So now let's move on to the next part. All right, so the next step is to install the extractor. And this is what the extractor looks like, right? And the one piece to note is this circle area right here. Looks like this from the side. So that circle piece will be inserted to this area right here. You can see that little circle area. It's going to get inserted just like this. Okay. But before we could do that, we have to install the plunger first. And how we do that is there's two sides of the plunger. You can see there's like a flatter side, and on the other side, it's more of like a round area. So that's going to get inserted into this area right here. The spring right here is going to go inward first. It gets put in with, like I said, the round part right here is going to be facing my left, just like that. Now I'm going to put my thumb over the plunger and I'm going to push it inward. See how this piece right here gets inserted up here like this? So that's important. So we're going to push in with our thumb just like that and hold it while we take our extractor. Remember, the circle part gets inserted to here, just like this. And then we can release the pressure with our thumb, and now the extractor should stay in place. Next, we're going to take this piece right here. Well, this part of the spring gets inserted to this hole right here, just like this. Boom, it slides right in. And that also helps, you can see it right here, helps hold the extractor into place. Next, we take our striker assembly. This piece right here gets inserted to this area right here, just like that. And this silver part will go into this channel right here, like this. Boom, there you go. Next, we're going to push in the plunger We're going to push this down a little bit further, just like that. And the last thing we need to do is take the back plate and insert it into this area. Looking at the back plate, this area right here and this area right here will be inserted to this area right here and this area right here. Okay. So we take the back plate, we insert it to the areas I was showing, just like that. Now we're prepped. Now I have my finger on the back plate. I'm holding it into place. So what we need to do is take this plastic piece right here and we need to compress that downward. So there's two ways to compress this sleeve. And so one way is taking your finger, putting it on the plastic sleeve, pushing it in. Then with your thumb, you're going to push the back plate inward. And it's going to look something like this. Compress it inward, push the sleeve in, just like that. The other way, if you can't do that with your finger, is to take the 3mm punch, put it over here or here, and then push it downward, okay? That's just another way of doing it if you can't get your finger in this area and push downward. So now that we're at this point, we need to take the 3mm punch, put it over this little circle, and we're going to compress that spring inward. So we're going to put the 3mm punch over that circle. We're going to compress downward, and now we're pushing the back plate further this way with our thumb. So again, compress, push forward, and there you go. The back plate has been installed. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up this screw right here. If you have one of these torque wrench, you'll torque the screw to the specification to the optic that you have on your slide. Now at this point, what you need to do is reassemble your dagger, and in this way we can do a function test. If you need help reassembling everything, you could use that same video that you used earlier to reassemble everything. Once you've reassembled it, come back here and then I'll show you how to do the function test. So now that we have everything put back together, we're going to do a function test, and how we do that is by grabbing the dagger like this, flipping it over. With this hand, you're going to push this way. With this hand, you're going to grab the slide from here or here and pull it this way 3 times. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to point the dagger in a safe position and pull the trigger. Hold the trigger. Do not let go of the trigger yet. You're going to pull the slide to the rear one more time. Next, you're going to release the trigger and then pull the trigger again. And there you go. Everything seems to be working properly. Congratulations, you have successfully removed the striker and the extractor for your Dagger Micro. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. If you found the video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're in the market for CCW insurance, check out Right to Bear. Link is in the description below. Use coupon code UBR10 to get 10% off your entire order. And don't forget, if you haven't already, to subscribe and tell a friend about the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.